A warm welcome and good evening to Dr. Mohammed Yunus Yassin, President of Association of Science, Technology and Innovation, ASTI, Mr. Anandan Shanmugam, Project Director of Young Inventors Challenge 2022 Special Edition, all the working group committee members of YIC 2022, all the mentors, teachers, participants and viewers. Thank you very much for joining us today for the fourth online training of YIC 2022. The training today will be focusing on judging criteria for invention pitch video and project report writing. It will be conducted by Mr. Faisal Noor Bacha, YIC 2022's judging advisor, and Mr. Tancher Hao, the Chief Judge of Young Inventors Challenge 2022. Mr. Faisal Noor Bacha is currently employed as a senior manager at the Malaysian Bioeconomy Development Corporation with at least 11 years of experience in project structuring for investments and industry support in the field of agriculture and biotechnology, covering natural products, aquaculture, livestock, food production and waste management sectors. He is qualified with a bachelor's Honours in Engineering, Biotechnology and Masters in Science, Biomedical from the International Islamic University, Malaysia. Next, Mr. Tancher Hao. He graduated with a BSc in Biotechnology from California State Polytechnic University of Pomona. He returned in 2010 after working in a pharmaceutical company in Los Angeles to pursue his career in Malaysia with SME Corporation, followed by Malaysia Bioeconomy Development Corporation. He has been working close to 11 years to enhance innovation and strategic thinking in small and medium enterprises, particularly biotechnology companies. In 2017, he obtained his MBA from Heriot-Watt University, Edinburgh, and was in time to participate with ASTI in the Young Innovators Challenge, YIC. This will be his 6th year participating with YIC. Kids, we have very knowledgeable and experienced trainers for you today, so I hope it will be very beneficial. Let's welcome Mr. Faisal Noor Bacha and Mr. Tancher Hao.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all again. Welcome to our judging criteria presentation for invention, pitch, video, and project report writing. I'm Faisal. I'll be one of your, basically your, somebody to guide you all the way, together with my other team members, right? Okay, next slide. Okay, just to give you an introduction about what this session is all about. So what you'll at the end of the session, what you'll be able to basically, have a macro view of, for you have a better understanding is you'll know about the scoring mechanism, how we actually do the scoring for the invention pitch video, and then for the report writing, and also the submission processes, and of course the submission deadline. All right. And how we have actually done the scoring allocation, okay, for ease of understanding, where you should actually focus on, and where you can actually put more of your effort is basically we have the pitching video will basically be will carry around 80% of the total marks, while the report writing is 20%. So so that is how there will be your breakup of your basically the invention between the pitch video and the report writing, right? Okay, the judging criteria for invention pitch video, which is okay, how we have actually divided them into three parts. Basically, the invention or the innovation itself, which will carry about 50% of the total score, quality of the production, and your presentation skills, right? All right. Part 1 of your invention or the innovation, which is 50% of your pitching video, marks, would be introduction. So that'll carry about a total of 10%, which is 10%, which will basically will be your what description. You have to talk about your team description, who you are. That is very important because it's all about teamwork. So and then what each of you are doing. So that is very important. And then number two, of course, it comes back to the problem statements. And then third is the relevance to the theme, which is the SDG goals. Which SDG goals are you in? And how are you going to approach everything? And then number four, description of your innovation, and then originality of your innovation. Right. Right. So how do we, and then the second criteria for the first 50% of your invention or innovation part is adoption and adaptation of scientific concepts in the invention. This is very important because it will bring you to how you actually came up with your innovation. Basically, what is your problem statement, and how do you come to what is the pathway that you actually come to your innovation. So this is very important. So why this is also important? So this will help us to will judge your thought process. So number one, the justification of the scientific problem, right? How the invention or innovation develops the learning of at least one scientific concept. So basically, how do you back up your scientific problem with your the problem with your concept. So that is very important, the linking between your problem statement and then a scientific concept. So this is very important. So that is, and then number three is the approach used in the invention or innovation is unique and novel. How different is it compared to existing solutions in solving the problem identified? So probably in this, you may want to show that, if there are similar problems with similar solutions, how is yours different from others, all right? And what is the approach that you're using to actually solve this problem? And of course, the final one is actually ethics. So, we want to make sure that you have backed this up with the relevant references, okay, or reliable acknowledgement. So this is not just through literature review, but it also could be through your, the extra effort that you actually take to talk to probably experts in this sector, and then you could actually acknowledge them. So that actually carries, more marks. For example, a project that you're doing, other than just taking literal literature review, but you have taken an extra effort to probably speak to people. You could even actually code that. So that carries a lot of weight also. Right. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the next 10% would be the methodology. So the thought process in identifying the materials to be used, basically your end product, practicality of the material usage in terms of cost, safety, and scalability. So, and how easy that you can actually do this innovation with this without the supervision of an expert. All right. So in terms, not really easy, but safely assembled. So this is where we want to see that, you have your own expertise in putting this together, and you don't depend on external parties to put it together. So right, that is more to your team's capability, utilizing each other's strength, to come together to make this innovation. So that is also another key point inside this, right? Number 4. Next slide, please. All right. Of course, with your innovation, we want to see what is the impact that you can actually the impact that goes with your innovation. So, which is another 10%. So, the impact can be divided into the economic viability of your innovation to address all levels of society. Okay, and then number 3 is, of course, coming back to supervision of an instructor. Minimal supervision. So this is where we want to say that at your level, the impact, I would like to see probably the impact of working together, how you at your level, how your teamwork comes in. So that is also, it's more of a teamwork kind of impact. All right. And number 3 is the capability of being a catalyst for more invention. So this is an additional point where we want to see that, based on your invention, you can, it's a stepping stone to other inventions, other innovations. So, that is an additional point. And then the material that you use it, how friendly, how environmental friendly or sustainable is your materials. So, so that is very important. And then the last one is the potential of addressing a global need. So this comes back to addressing all levels of society and global need. So it's an interconnectivity kind of impact that you're going to do, right? The next 10% of your invention and innovation would be the commercialization or entrepreneurship potential. Of course, once we have done our innovation, the big question is, how do we take it up? How do we take it further? The next step, that is what we want to see. We don't want to stop it there. So this is where your business skills or your business, your entrepreneurship or your business thought process comes into, so you should have a segment or market or target overview, understanding the target market segment, and then your competition. Who are your competitors or alternatives or people who can actually complement your products? Okay, we're always talking about competition, but there could be people who could actually be complementing your product. So that is very important. People who could you could actually work with. So that's another angle you could actually look. In this current globalization, it's just not about competition. It's about working with others. So those are important things for you to explore. Project costing, of course, managing your project costing, your business model. Okay, let's say how your business model is going to be, how you're taking what would be your cost of your innovation if you were to actually commercialize this. What would be the cost in commercializing? All right, it's just not your product, but there are a lot of other costs involved inside. So then you should actually look into it. All right. And when you're talking about the business model, it's also about how you're going to market the whole thing. There could be different ways of marketing, different ways of even taking your, other than just marketing, different ways of the society using it. So these are all very important things. So the business model is very important. And of course, business model will also be in your business model. Should also be able to explain, what kind of job creation that you're going to do, what kind of impact in terms of job creation, what kind of employment that you're going to create. So that is very important. So this basically will give you an added, people will know, okay, if I'm going to commercialize your project, who are the people that I need to employ, what kind of expertise that I need to actually create or even employ for my business to take over, or for my innovation to be commercialized. So that is also another important aspect of your business model. Readiness of the prototype. The prototype does not require any major changes for commercialization potential. So that means, you should say at what level are you ready? Is it ready tomorrow you can actually commercialize, or what are the steps that you will need to take for you to actually commercialize? You don't need to say that you don't need to force yourself to say that tomorrow is ready for the market. Let's be practical here. A lot of steps are needed, but this is where we want you to study what are the steps needed for you to actually commercialize. So that is where we want to see your thought process. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I hope my brief online briefing is enough for you to actually embark on your adventure. And I pass the next phase, the next presentation to my counterpart, Mr. Che Tan, who will take you further towards your journey in this YIC. Good luck, guys. Bye-bye.
Hi, good evening, everyone. How was school? I think most of you have just completed your evening session of school. So I'll keep this training today short and simple. Of course, this is the 4th training that we have this year. I think there's going to be many more coming up, right? So today we're going to talk about the judging criteria for the invention pitch video and the project report writing. right? Just to give you a feel of how the judges, actually go through your video and your report writing, and how they score both of this. Okay, so now we go into the next 25% of your pitch video scoring, which is the quality of production, right? Here, we look at the time and the duration of the video. So just to remind the teams, your video should be about 5 minutes, right? So probably the question that will always arise is, sir, what happens if we do it less than 5 minutes, or we overshoot the 5 minutes, right? So I would normally say that a plus minus of an extra 1 minute or half a minute, that is still okay. So don't worry about this section so much. But yeah, but do stay within that time frame, right? And of course, the video language would be in English. And number 3, right? So as per the requirements of YIC, the teams are to be presented fully, right? So you have so every team probably about 2 to 5 persons per team, right? So we would like to see all of your faces there, and hopefully all of you can somehow present a particular section of your technology, right? The 4th, we want to see appropriate title of your pitch. 5th, these are some of the video contents, which consists of the introduction, the scientific concepts, the explanation, and the visual aids. How do you help us understand your technology basically in the video. Now the next 5% will be on your videos audio quality, right? So here we will score based on the creativity behind the team, right? So the type of sound effects you use in your video, the music background, or the music they use to help the judges understand your technology better, right? Number 2, the volume of the speaker or the participant. How do you speak well enough that we can hear you well enough? Are you too soft? Or you too loud? So the 3rd is, of course, the accuracy and fluency of your presentation itself. And 4, language appropriateness. So basically here we treat the program as being a professional session. So we expect some form of formal or professional mode of presenting, right? Now next, another 5% will be given to visual quality. Here again, so these 3 components that you heard earlier, the video itself, the audio, and the visual, are meant to allow the judges to understand the team and also understand the technology better. So here what we want to try and say is we want to see how well you convey yourself, so that convey yourself in terms of passing on the understanding of your technology to the judges or the audience, right? So here the visual quality will probably further help your video. So here some of the criteria. Do you use graphics or animation to help your video to help your pitch, right? What kind of color scheme do you use? Background colors. Do you use very fancy background colors? But with a very fancy background color, do they block off your words that the judges cannot see? So those things we take into account. And of course, the text and fonts, right? The readability of your video is important, right? So you don't put a font of 4 and we cannot see anything. So it's very hard for us to follow back on your pitch. The next one is on your video resolution. And the last is the camera techniques that you use. The exposure, you focus on a particular content of the video. So 5% here, right? The next one is on the filmmaking or the video production ability and skills. Here, 5% again. Here we look at, in general, the storyboard. How do you structure your entire video, right? Then we look at your screenplay. Do you have a clear explanation in terms of dialogue or illustration, or do you, specifically, maybe highlight or box a particular wording, list of words so that the judge can see this, this is important, right? Or see it clearly, basically. So the third one would be, of course, their creativity. That again, creativity here can be in terms of that three components we mentioned about earlier, basically your audio, your video, the video here being the way how you present. You good enough to attract the attention of the judge. Then the next one would be on digital editing. Are you able to crop, cut, add music, sound effects, use visual effects, apply transitions, and add titles and credits efficiently, right? And the last is, of course, here again being important, we look at image and video copyright. So we want to observe that if you take images or videos that are still within copyright, do you cite the video or the image that you are using in your video, right? Because this is important, because copyright issue and infringement, right, could land you in court if someone wants to take action on it, basically. So this is a good time. YIC is a good place for you to train. When you do take this kind of things, you cite it to the original owner. Okay, the next section of the scoring, another 25% here, will be on presentation. So under presentation here, we have a section on communication skills, 5% here. Here, we again look at the articulated storyline, the fluency of the speakers, here speakers meaning the team members, whether they're confident, whether they give a clear interpretation of scientific principles, and last but not least, is there a detailed elaboration of the scientific content. Here, another 10% for style of presentation. So here, in terms of the style of presentation, we want to see how attractive your presentation is. Are you able to engage with the audience? So here, engage. Are you able to pull the attention of the judges and keep our eyes on, for lack of a better word, on you and the video, right? The next one would be the creativity in delivering the scientific information. Now the fourth one is the display of professionalism here. So here we try to capture how well the attire that you wear, the flow and manner of the whole presentation itself. So here attire, if you ask me, there have been numerous questions last time. Sir, do we wear school attires? Do we need to be very formal? All this, yes, it's up to the team. But where I suggest is at least on a minimum be at wear something that's semi-formal. Because more importantly, we want you to be comfortable while you're shooting the video. Because when you're not comfortable, then of course the quality of your video just deteriorates organically, right? Now, we talk about the technical presentation. Here, another 10%. The presentation. So here we look at the technique, how you explain the scientific evidence behind your thought process, right? We want to see whether there's a logical explanation behind things. Best of all is if you can give a real life example provided here. So real life here meaning it can be many things. You can always your real life can be on the problem statement itself. So you let's say you go on the ground, you meet people on the ground who are facing this issue, right? And because of that, you want to solve the problem. You can do that. You can record that for us, or even some teams have done things like, I've done the technology. I want someone to try it, or I want to survey the market to see whether people are accepting this prototype that I have. So that can be used as real life examples. And last but not least, this is also very important because you have gone through so much thinking, right, to come up with your innovation or technology. And once your prototype is ready, you probably played with it or used it so many times that you understand where the weakness of your innovation or technology is. So again, a bit more thought process goes into it and say, these are the weaknesses in my invention. How do I improve it? So what are your thought process towards improving your product further, right? Now, so just a note, we completed the session on the pitch video. Now we go into the judging criteria for the report writing. So here are the list of things that we look at and for your report writing. Again, your report writing is 20% of the entire scoring. Now here, let's go into the criteria. So we talk about your problem statement. Here, your problem statement being short, clear, and concise, right? And then number two, the relevance to the team. So your team being the sustainable development goals. And when I talk about the sustainable development goals, I believe that your first class would have been about the basics and understanding of of the SDGs, right? And here, I would urge and advise the teams to remember to put your SDGs linked to the team, because every year there will be teams in their rush to do the paper, they will forget to put this in, right? This is important, right? And also there are teams who would list many SDGs. So that to us is to us we consider it as teams just trying to fill up to get free scores, like, basically. So this year will be a bit more strict. We will always look at your innovation and your writing and understand and see whether the team actually link the SDGs correctly to the innovation and team. The third one is, of course, on the description of the invention. The description of the invention being the purpose of an objective of why you're doing this. Is it clear and easy to understand? Number four, the scientific principles that you use, behind the thought process to get towards this invention. So please mention to us scientific principles. And the fifth one is, we also want to understand again your originality of your invention, whether it is novel being, is it very new? No one has done it before, no one has thought about it before, or even if it has been, but you're able to improve it even better, and then of course the justification of your invention. And 4 and 5 is linked, right? Because here I come to the important part again. So you can take scientific principles and concepts, but again, please quote and do not plagiarize. When we say plagiarize, please reference your scientific principles and the thought process back to the people who have done work before you, right, relating to this innovation and technology. Of course, further, if you could provide us diagrams with specifications and technicality, that would help the judges to understand your technology better. Of course, pictures speak 1,000 words, right? It's much better compared to writing 3 or 4 paragraphs, right? For judges, we are going to score about 10 to 20 papers at any one time. So pictures help us a lot, right? And I thank you, the teams, for doing that in advance, lah. So I would like to see interesting diagrams and of course figures this year. The last, not last, number 7 would be on the benefits of the invention and the innovation. Here we want to see a list of the benefits of the invention and innovation stated and explained by the teams. Last but not least, of course, is your conclusion and future projects. Now here we look at the invention consistent and relates to the problem statement above. So again, right, the whole flow is you start off with the problem statement and you go through this process of creating the technology. So your conclusion, want to see how, whether there's a link between your problem statement and the technology, right? And then the comparison made with existing inventions and other additional info which supports your invention. Here being the scalability of your project, or the practicality of it. So that brings us to the end of the session today. Now, this is the most important update of the training today, right? So remember that you need to submit your pitching video and your report back to us. So both the invention pitch video, in which for you to provide the YouTube link, and the project report in PDF should be submitted to Google Form link as shown on the screen by 14 September 2022 before 11:59 p.m. So I repeat again, the date is 14 September 2022. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. And I hope you have a good evening, a good rest, so that you're ready for school again tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fazil Nurbacha and Mr. Tan Sherhal, for giving such a detailed explanation to the participants on the judging criteria. I hope all of you had a good session today. If you have any questions, do drop us an email and we will revert back to you the soonest. Thank you for being such a great audience. I'm Teacher Linga, your moderator today, signing off. Thank you very much.